Today, we're unpacking a stack of research that feels like it's aimed at pretty much everyone holding a smartphone.
It's a heavy one for sure.
We're looking at the psychology of what's called high conflict, why we fight, why we get so stuck, and the science of rethinking.
Yeah, we've got a lot to draw on. Insights from Amanda Ripley, the organizational psychologist Adam Grant, and some really fascinating data from the Difficult Conversations Lab at Columbia.
And the mission here, I think, is to figure out why smart people, maybe especially smart people, get trapped in these binary, us versus them arguments.
And how complicating the narrative, as they call it, is the actual exit ramp.
Okay, so first we have to distinguish between normal conflict and this high conflict.
Right, they are not the same thing at all. Not even in the same league.
Normal conflict is what? Arguing about whose turn it is to do the dishes. It's annoying, but it's solvable.
Exactly. High conflict is a total structural collapse. The research describes it as this state where all complexity just vanishes.
So the goal isn't solve the problem anymore.
No, the goal shifts entirely to defeat the monster.
Yeah.
You stop seeing a person with a bad idea, and you start seeing an obstacle that just needs to be removed.
And our brains, they kind of love that, don't they? The source material gets into this binary bias.
It's a defense mechanism, really.
Yeah.
Our brains have this seize and freeze tendency. When things feel chaotic, we want cognitive closure, so we just flatten everything into two boxes.
Us and them.
Us and them.
Hmm.
It feels safe, but it makes us, frankly, stupid.
Which brings us to the Difficult Conversations Lab. I love this experiment. They brought people in to discuss, really radioactive topics.
Like abortion, yeah. But they primed them first.
And this is the absolute key, I think. One group read a standard pro versus con article, very black and white.
Very binary. The other group, though, they read an article that was just full of nuance, contradictions, complexity, all of it.
And the result, when they sat down to talk, the nuance group, they didn't just have a more polite chat.
No, they asked better questions. They were more creative. The data showed they actually left the conversation more satisfied.
It proves that complexity is contagious.
It absolutely is. You prime your brain with nuance, and you disrupt that whole season freeze thing.
Okay, but if that works, why do we resist it so much? The notes on solution aversion. That explains why throwing facts at your uncle over the holidays never, ever works.
Yes. The Campbell and Kay studies, they found we often deny a problem exists, not because we doubt the evidence, but because we just hate the solution that comes with it.
The examples were so clear. They showed Republicans data on climate change. If the proposed solution was, say, heavy government regulation,
Belief in the science just plummeted.
but if the solution was framed as free market innovation, belief in the exact same science went way up.
And this isn't a partisan thing. They found the same pattern with liberals and crime statistics. If the data didn't fit their preferred gun control narrative, suddenly they were very skeptical of the numbers.
So it's not about how smart you are.
No, and that's the really scary part. A high IQ can make it worse. They call it identity protective cognition.
Meaning you're just a better lawyer for your own bad ideas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're just more skilled at rationalizing why your team is right and their team is wrong.
It explains that first instinct fallacy, too. The study where students are afraid to change an answer on a test, even though revising usually turns wrong answers into right ones. We're just terrified of rethinking.
So the fix. How do we break this loop? Adam Grant suggests we need to catch ourselves when we fall into one of three modes. The preacher.
Where you're just protecting your beliefs.
The prosecutor, where you're just trying to prove someone else is wrong.
I spent a lot of time there.
And the politician, where you're just trying to win approval. We all do. Grant says the answer is to adopt a scientist mode.
You view your opinions as hypotheses to be tested.
Yes. You're not looking for validation. You're actively looking for evidence that you might be wrong.
That requires what he calls confident humility.
It's a tricky balance. It means having faith in your ability to learn while also admitting your current knowledge has limits. It keeps you off Mount Stupid.
That peak where you know just a little bit, so you think you know everything.
That's the one.
So tactically, what can you do? If you're in a big fight, the research points to looping.
It's so simple, it almost sounds silly. You listen to what the other person says, and then you repeat the gist of it back to them, in your own words.
And then you ask, did I get that right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It signals that you're not just reloading your own argument while they're talking, you're actually listening. It just lowers the temperature in the room.
Okay, we've covered a lot, but there's one last idea I saw in the newer research. from 2025 that I think is a perfect way to close.
Right.
We talked about solution aversion, but there's also something called solution attraction.
This is a one to really chew on.
Right. Ask yourself, are you exaggerating how bad a problem is just because you really, really like the solution?
Do you love the political wins so much that you're actually inflating the crisis to justify it?
Wow. That requires some serious scientist mode to answer honestly.